Welcome to Supporting Students with Intellectual Disabilities in Post-Secondary Career and Technical Programs, Part 2A. This presentation is based on strategies used by Project Achieve, which is located at Florida State College at Jacksonville. Project Achieve provides support to students with intellectual disabilities to enable them to succeed in career and technical programs, earn a credential in a field of their choice, and become competitively employed. This presentation is a guide for educators at colleges and career and technical education centers, secondary exceptional student education professionals, and other agencies who intend to form a collaboration to develop and implement a similar support program in their own community. In order to benefit most from this presentation, viewers should already be familiar with the purpose of Project Achieve through viewing Part 1 of this webinar or Part 1 of the Project Achieve Replication Guide. The Replication Guide was developed by the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council and posted on FDDC's website. Part 1 of the guide is a brief introduction to Project Achieve. Part 2 of the guide provides detailed information on implementing a support program. Parts 2A and 2B of this online module together correspond to Part 2 of the Replication Guide. This is Part 2A of the online module. The initiative to support the implementation of Project Achieve, to develop the Replication Guide, and to produce these online modules is sponsored by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council. Both this module and Part 2 of the Replication Guide present in detail the development of a post-secondary support program in 6 phases. Phase 1 is needs assessment. Phase 2 is initiation. Phase 3 is preparation. Phase 4 is implementation. Phase 5 is the Semester 1 Employment Readiness class. And Phase 6 is post-secondary adult vocational instruction and comprehensive support. This presentation, which is Part 2A of the online modules, covers Phases 1, 2, and 3. Part 2B includes Phases 4, 5, and 6. Phase 1. Needs Assessment. It is crucial that each community assess the need for additional post-secondary education and training options for students with intellectual disabilities and determine whether additional options are needed, and if so, what type of program would best meet local needs. Some viewers of this module will already have the results of a needs assessment available to them. If a needs assessment is not already available, a group that includes leadership of the college or career and technical education center, school district leadership, students with intellectual disabilities and their families, regional vocational rehabilitation professionals, advocates, and others should work together to assess the need for additional post-secondary opportunities for students with intellectual disabilities. The Needs Assessment Team will assess available post-secondary education options, identify other post-secondary education options already being developed, determine whether an additional option is needed, and determine what type of program might best suit local needs. More information about the Needs Assessment phase is available in the Replication Guide. There are also many sources of general information about community needs assessment available online, including information on community resource mapping from the Project 10 Transition Education Network. Phase 2. Initiation. If the needs assessment shows that there is a need for a post-secondary support program and that such a program will likely have sufficient support and resources, the next step is to initiate a program by enlisting partner institutions and identify individuals who will lead the effort. The initiation phase will unfold differently in each community. However, such a significant effort will require the energetic support of at least one leader in the college or career technical education center who could be called the college champion. The initial effort will also depend on the commitment of at least one leader in the school district or districts, if multiple districts will participate. The college champion and the school district leader will be the spark plugs for development of the program. They must be able to commit resources from their institution or convince others in the institution to make that commitment. They must thoroughly understand the operations of the college or the school district respectively, and must be able to work productively together. They will need to identify a project coordinator at the post-secondary institution and a lead person at the school district who will be the main points of contact for the program. They should also work together to build a leadership team for the program and to secure a formal agreement among their institutions. The project coordinator will be the hands-on leader of the program. He or she secures support of key administrators at the college or CTE center, identifies and secures approval of any needed policy or procedural changes at the institution, puts procedures in place to allow the program to operate smoothly, selects and supervises staff, such as instructors and tutors, identifies the first PSAV programs that will be approached, works with the school district lead to develop practices that will be used to recruit, select, and enroll students, and works with the first cohort of students to get them enrolled, guiding them as they interact with the enrollment, financial aid, and business offices. Some institutions will assign the project coordinator role to a current employee who also has other duties. At the outset, this individual will need to be very involved with the program, but later may supervise another individual or individuals who carry out the daily activities of the program. The school district lead will typically be the school district transition contact for each participating school district. This person garners support for the project within the school district, secures the commitment of needed resources, represents the school district in the partnership with the post-secondary institution, communicates with school district and school-based ESE and transition staff, supervises the activities of school district personnel in relationship to the program, and champions the program within the school district. Because the support program depends on collaboration, advocates will need to raise awareness among post-secondary administrators, program managers, and instructors, school district leadership, ESE staff, and transition staff, staff of agencies such as vocational rehabilitation, and families and advocacy groups. They may do this by meeting directly with these individuals, making presentations, sharing Part 1 of either this module or the replication guide, and arranging for them to take a tour of Project Achieve or another support program. Those who are working to secure the participation of the college, school district, and other partners may emphasize the following points in meetings and presentations. Employment outcomes for students with disabilities are very poor. Post-secondary education and training options for students with intellectual disabilities are very limited. A support program could have a significant impact on student success in PSAV programs. The students will receive accommodations and supports, but the content of the PSAV curriculum and what students are required to learn will not be modified. The purpose of the program connects to the mission of the institution, which likely includes expanding access to post-secondary education, providing workforce development services and training, and supporting economic development. Before going any further, the president of the college or director of the CTE center must approve the approach, and officials in the school district must agree to participate. Eventually, this agreement will be formalized in a memorandum of understanding or similar document. Once top-level leaders at each partner institutions are on board, they will be able to enlist others in their institutions who will have important ongoing roles or relationships with the program. This program leadership team should consist of high-level administrators at the post-secondary institution and the school district or districts who are responsible for implementing new programs. Local structures vary, but the leadership team might include the following. From the college, the administrator for services for students with disabilities, the administrator for resource development, the administrator for student success and retention, the administrator for career and technical education, and the administrator for financial aid. And from the school district, the administrator for exceptional student education and the administrator for dual enrollment. Administrators from across all relevant departments in the participating school districts and college must be informed of SPSCT program requirements and prepared for program implementation. The project coordinator and school district leads should secure signed letters of support or a memorandum of understanding outlining the role of each party in the creation and implementation of the support program, including the participation of the school districts, the college or CTE center, and any other primary partner agencies. Phase 3, Preparation. This is the longest and most complex phase leading up to the implementation of the program. It is during this time that the details of the program are worked out, procedures are established, and barriers are addressed. The preparation phase involves setting up all aspects of the program before students arrive on campus. This includes creating working relationships with departments at the college, addressing barriers to the enrollment of students with intellectual disabilities, selecting and working with the PSAV programs, setting up a detailed plan for providing supports to students, and establishing practices for recruiting and enrolling students. To do so, the following steps will typically need to be taken. Form an implementation team. Form an advisory committee. Build relationships and procedures with departments at the college or CTE center. Address barriers to participation of students with intellectual disabilities. Address barriers to students' use of dual enrollment funding for PSAV tuition. Develop procedures for students to access supports through vocational rehabilitation and other funding sources. Develop plans for providing comprehensive student supports. Establish staffing plan and hire staff. Identify PSAV programs and train PSAV instructors. Establish procedures for selecting students. Develop the application packet, and develop other needed materials. Although there are many different ways that an effective support program could be set up, the slides that follow describe procedures based on Project Achieve at FSCJ. Enrollment procedures, funding strategies, student supports, and other elements will be described in detail in this section. Fundamentally, though, the core of the student's college experience is a post-secondary adult vocational program, such as welding or cosmetology. Every other aspect of the program is designed to help students succeed in their PSAV program. The rest of this presentation will refer to a support program based at a college. However, such a program can also be developed at a career and technical education center. Members of the implementation team work together closely to execute the support program once it has been approved. They must maintain excellent communication throughout the implementation process to ensure that all program elements are implemented in accordance with the policies of each institution. The implementation team may be the same group that originally promoted and planned the program: the college champion, the project coordinator, and the school district lead. The college champion oversees the program, enlists the help of other administrators, and hires and supervises the project coordinator. The project champion may be the director of the Office of Services for Students with Disabilities or another college leader who has the authority to commit resources and work with all levels and units of the college. The project coordinator manages the program and is the primary point of contact for the college. He or she coordinates communications with the school district lead, ensures that all tasks are identified and completed, hires and supervises program staff, and works with all departments of the college, including dual enrollment, financial aid, PSAV programs, services for students with disabilities, tutoring, and English as a second language. The school district lead is the primary point of contact for the school district. He or she coordinates communications with counterparts at other participating school districts, if any, shares information about program policies and procedures with school personnel who will promote the program among students and families and refer students for participation, interacts with district staff, including dual enrollment personnel and district administrators, leads development of the process that will be used to select students and participates in the selection process, and coordinates with district job coaches. While the implementation team will work directly with the program and its staff and students, the advisory committee is focused on advising the implementation team, identifying and securing needed resources, and providing feedback on implementation. The advisory committee will likely include participating school districts and the college, plus any other post-secondary institutions in the region that serve students with intellectual disabilities, state agencies or their regional arms, local service providers such as clinics and independent living facilities, students and families, PSAV program faculty, and disability education and advocacy groups. Program staff, especially the project coordinator, will need to familiarize themselves with college departments and their areas of responsibilities, policies, and procedures, and recruit the support of personnel in those departments. These activities will be directed toward operating the program smoothly and preparing the way for students to be successful. The effectiveness of the program will depend on the strength of these relationships. Teams will need to address any barriers to the participation of their target student population in PSAV programs at the post-secondary institution. Some barriers arise out of the reality that many students with intellectual disabilities earn a special diploma rather than a standard diploma. Although the special diploma option is being phased out in Florida, students who hold a special diploma will continue to graduate from Florida high schools for the next several years, so it is still important to address barriers related to the special diploma. One type of barrier includes administrative, structural, procedural, or attitudinal barriers to students' enrollment or completion of the program. Neither accrediting bodies nor state law bars the enrollment of students who hold a special diploma in most PSAV programs. Additionally, PSAV programs at CTE centers do not have admission standards. However, colleges do have the ability to set admission standards for PSAV programs. So if programs currently require a standard diploma for admission, the team and the college champion will need to find a way to address this barrier within the institution. Teams may also find there are attitudes and misconceptions that can effectively bar students with intellectual disabilities from enrolling in a PSAV program. For example, faculty members and administrators may be concerned that the student will not be able to do the required work, that the student will take too much of the instructor's time, or that the curriculum will have to be watered down. The main way to address these concerns is by educating colleagues about the needs and abilities of students with intellectual disabilities, the use of accommodations for students with disabilities, and the supports that the program will provide to students and PSAV instructors. Although PSAV programs do not base admission on test scores, PSAV programs of 450 clock hours or more do include tests of basic academic skills for program completion and exit. These tests can be a barrier to student success, even for students who have learned all of the technical skills required by their program. Some students will be able to pass the basic skills tests as their skills improve during their time in the program. Students who receive accommodations may request accommodation for the basic skills test, and other students may apply for a waiver of the basic skills requirement. Teams should work with PSAV program staff and disability services staff to ensure that procedures are in place to address this barrier before students arrive on campus, including procedures for applying for a waiver of the basic skills testing requirement. Teams must also address a significant financial barrier to the participation of students who hold a special diploma. Federal financial aid is available only to students who hold a standard diploma or GED diploma. The only exception to this policy is for students with intellectual disabilities who are enrolled in a comprehensive transition and post-secondary program approved by the U.S. Department of Education. Teams are advised to design their program so that it will meet the requirements for a CTP program. However, the program will have to operate for a while before it can become an approved CTP program, so teams will need to help their students access other sources of financial support for which they are already eligible. The two main sources of funding that Project Achieve students have used are vocational rehabilitation and school district dual enrollment. At Project Achieve, most students use dual enrollment to support their participation in the PSAV program and the ESE Technology and Support class, and they use VR funding to support their enrollment in the Employment Readiness class and the tutoring and other services they receive from an assessment instructor. Information about VR funding will be provided in the next phase. At this point, it is important to briefly address the use of dual enrollment. It can be used to support the participation of students with intellectual disabilities in a PSAV program, but care must be taken to adhere to the eligibility requirements for dual enrollment. Procedures involved in dual enrollment must be worked out between the post-secondary institution and the school district before students arrive on campus. The first two dual enrollment requirements really both mean the same thing. Students who use dual enrollment to access post-secondary education must still be high school students. They must not yet have received a high school diploma of any kind, and they must be pursuing a high school diploma of some kind. This presents a problem because many of Project Achieve students have completed the requirements for a special diploma and are ready to exit high school. The solution has been for these students to defer receipt of their special diploma until after they finish their PSAV program. These students have still been allowed to participate in commencement ceremonies and celebrations so long as they do not formally receive their diploma. Also, at the same time they are enrolled in PSAV classes, students must also be enrolled in corresponding high school classes. It is very important that teams understand the latest rules and practices related to dual enrollment. More information may be obtained in the Project Achieve Replication Guide, but the team should always verify procedures with the Florida Department of Education. The other two requirements are also related. To participate in dual enrollment, students must demonstrate readiness for post-secondary education, including by achieving a minimum score on a basic skills test. They must also have a high school GPA of at least 2.0. Although some students with intellectual disabilities may meet these requirements, many will not. However, students may be exempted from these requirements in accordance with policies of the institution, so teams should propose procedures for exempting students as appropriate. As mentioned earlier, most Project Achieve students access both dual enrollment and VOC rehab funding so that they can receive the full menu of supports available. Project Achieve students who are eligible to do so become clients of VR and work with their VR counselor to approve the supports provided by the Employment Readiness class and the assessment instructor. VR may also pay for job-related tools and supplies. These supports become part of the student's Individualized Plan for Employment, or IPE. Students who are not eligible for dual enrollment may be able to access the PSAV program itself through VR as a payer of last resort, but they will not be able to participate in any school district-supported services, such as the ESE Technology and Support class and Job Coach at Project Achieve. It is vital that students who may be eligible to receive services through VR apply well in advance of their scheduled date to start classes. Project Achieve has developed a very productive relationship with VOC Rehab staff, and this has helped immensely in making Project Achieve services accessible to the greatest number of students. Although dual enrollment and VR funding are the options used by Project Achieve students, teams may also explore other options, such as federal financial aid for students in an approved comprehensive transition and post-secondary program, scholarship, the Agency for Persons with Disabilities, personal learning scholarship accounts, and individual training accounts through CareerSource. The purpose of Project Achieve and similar programs is to provide a full system of supports that will allow students with intellectual disabilities to succeed in a PSAV program of their choice. Setting up the specific supports and how they will be offered is one of the team's most important tasks. The system of supports does not have to be the same as the one used by Project Achieve, but many of the same elements will need to be present, including the student support team, employment readiness instruction, inclusion meetings, communication with PSAV instructor about student performance, accommodations, supplemental instruction, tutoring, mentoring, technology to support learning, workplace culture skills development, and support for transition to employment. Specific information about each of these supports will be provided in phases 5 and 6 of this module. It is important that these supports be set up long before students arrive on campus so that procedures can be established and staff hired and trained. Project Achieve has structured its support in several different ways over the years in order to maximize their effectiveness. One structure that has been used includes 4 semesters of instruction. During the summer before they begin their PSAV program, students participate in an employment readiness class, learning about college procedures and expectations, and developing skills that will help them succeed in college and on the job, such as time management, communications, and interpersonal skills. During the next 2 semesters, they participate in PSAV classes and receive all the other supports available to help them. Then, during the second summer, they prepare for the industry certification exam, work on their basic skills test preparation if needed, and hopefully transition to employment. Again, this is not the only possible structure, and there is some evidence that additional time in the program would help more students succeed. Each support program will need to determine how to allocate personnel to provide supports to students and complete other project tasks. Although initiation and preparation phase tasks can be completed by staff of the college, school district, and other collaborating organizations, dedicated staff will be required to implement and operate the program, provide supports to students, work with PSAV faculty, solve problems, coordinate team meetings, and do other project-specific tasks. For a startup support program serving 5 students the first year, the following staffing plan is suggested: 2 assessment instructors at 25 hours per week each, 1 employment readiness instructor at 10 hours per week, and a project coordinator who may already be a college staff member rather than specifically hired to work with the program. Alternative staffing arrangements are also possible. The important thing is to ensure that all the support services students need to succeed in their PSAV program are provided. Because it serves more students, and owing to the reciprocal relationship established with the local school district, Project Achieve students are also served by school district ESC technology and support teacher and a school district job coach. Programs may also develop a mentoring component. Peers who are already highly successful in the PSAV program can make excellent mentors. A program starting out with a small number of students and minimal staff may start by establishing relationships with a few PSAV programs. Although it is important to consider the content and teaching strategies of a program, it is possible for students to succeed in any program, regardless of the level of difficulty, when they are properly supported and motivated toward success. It is very important that students have the opportunity to exercise self-determination and that they are genuinely interested in the PSAV program they enroll in. The program must be the student's choice, not a choice made by a teacher or a parent. The goal should be to offer students the widest range of PSAV programs available. One of the keys to success is securing the support of PSAV program faculty. The best way to do this is through communication and collaboration. It is important that PSAV faculty understand the purpose of the program, understand the supports the students will receive, and understand how the support program staff will work with them. It is also very important that they are confident that the PSAV curriculum will not be watered down or modified. Each institution will develop its own student selection criteria. While it is important to establish a good fit between the supports that will be available and the needs of the student applicants, the goal is to promote inclusion to the greatest extent possible. Programs may want to consider factors such as the student's desire to enroll in a PSAV program, the student's desire for greater independence, the student's eligibility for dual enrollment if that is in the funding model in use, the student's behavior, ability to communicate, and history of satisfactory school attendance, the student's willingness to request accommodations, the student's willingness to work on remediation of basic academic skills, the student's willingness to participate in job shadowing or internships, and the student's commitment to becoming employed. Program staff will need to obtain or prepare materials related to recruiting, selecting, and enrolling students. These include an application packet, information about the program for school district ESE teachers and transition specialists, VR counselors, students, families, and others to make them aware of the program, a brief guide to the various PSAV programs available, information about transportation options, and information about dual enrollment and voc rehab services. These materials should be developed in collaboration with the school district lead and other members of the team. For more information about these materials, including possible contents of an application packet and also reusable samples of some materials, see the Project Achieve Replication Guide. This ends Part 2A of Supporting Students with Intellectual Disabilities in Post-Secondary Career and Technical Programs. The next step is to view Part 2B of the online module or to download the Project Achieve Replication Guide available at www.fddc.org under the Council Resources tab. Project Achieve also hosts information sessions for interested teams. For more information, contact staff at Project Achieve or the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council.